A man accidentally got hired for a job he had absolutely no business doing, and somehow nobody noticed for 6 months. Back in the early 2000s, a guy was applying to dozens of jobs every day. One afternoon, he got a call from a private medical office asking him to come in immediately. The problem? He had never applied there, and he definitely wasn't a doctor. But before he could explain, the receptionist congratulated him and scheduled an interview. At this point, most people would have corrected the mistake. This guy got curious, so he showed up. The office manager spent the entire interview talking about his impressive resume, a resume that actually belonged to a real doctor with a nearly identical name. The guy tried to interrupt several times, but every time he did, they kept talking over him. Then, they offered him the job, on the spot, and instead of saying no, he accepted. For months, he somehow avoided disaster. He never treated patients, he mostly handled paperwork, sat in meetings, and blamed every difficult question on hospital policy. Whenever someone asked for medical advice, he'd immediately find an excuse to leave the room. Everything was going perfectly, until one day, the real doctor walked into the building. The receptionist greeted him, then looked over at the fake doctor, then back at the real doctor, then back again. Within minutes, the entire office was in chaos. Managers were running around, employees were arguing. Nobody could understand how this had happened. When they finally asked the fake doctor why he never corrected them, he gave an answer so ridiculous that everyone just stared at him. He said, "Honestly, I didn't think I'd make it this far." And somehow, that wasn't even the craziest part. The company didn't press charges. They were too embarrassed to explain how they accidentally hired the wrong person for half a year. So they simply fired him and hoped nobody would ever find out. Which worked, until someone told the story online years later.